Good afternoon. Let's start in the Eastern Cape, where Premier Oscar Mabuyane says the Hawks are making progress in their investigations into alleged fraud and corruption in the OR Tambo municipality. He says they're hoping to arrest those who are accused of defrauding the municipality of millions through a door-to-door campaign meant to teach communities about the dangers of the coronavirus. Mabuyane says the scam cost the province 4.8 million rand.
The alleged corruption that has raised its ugly head again in one of our municipalities, the OR Tambo district municipalities, in the form of a very suspicious so-called door-to-door campaign which cost 4.8 million. We were not surprised at all when it happened because we knew there will be chance takers who would use this pandemic to get rich quick. Hence, from the onset, our Provincial Command Council meeting directed all accounting officers, municipal managers to be on high alert during this time and pay particular attention to procurement-related matters. We want to lead this fight free of scandals. We want scandalous-free campaign against this virus. Where issues like these show their ugly head, they must be attended to. I've already written as well to the President asking for SIU. The MEC, COGTA, and the Department of COGTA with Treasury are already working on a preliminary investigations on the allegations that have surfaced, issues against alleged fiscal dumping, payment of money to service providers that have not done any work, all that packaged together must be attended to. So we are dealing with that situation in OR Tambo, but our attitude and our approach is that we must always seek the truth from facts to ensure that our response to that will be a very effective one. I'm happy that Hawks are already on the ground and there are cases opened with police as well around these matters, and these matters must be thoroughly dealt with. We've got our front line here, we've got our tracing teams, we've got our testing teams who have been running around this province. Now they've tested more than 170,000 people. They've never had a situation like this. We've never heard about door-to-door campaigns where people are paid. People are paid their salaries because they're employed to do this work. So it's a very strange thing that we believe the investigations that are taking place there will unearth the truth, and that truth will be dealt with as it will also come out. We applaud the patriotic action of those whistleblowers that have gone out public to actually deal with this. And we want to continue appealing to our people. Issues of this nature must always be reported to police for crime investigation, for corruption investigation. You don't have to report them anywhere, because the reason that we fail to deal with corruption where it actually manifests is to use these issues as platforms for political bickering, for political issues. Corruption cannot be equated to politics. Politics are about service to our people. Where corruption comes in, you are dealing with thuggerism, and we must deal with that as such and confront it as such.
Mabuyane has also outlined how the province will try and deal with the increasing rate of COVID-19 infections in the province. SABC News reporter Yanga Funani is in Bhisho and he was covering that story. A very good afternoon to you, Yanga. So we heard about that alleged corruption. We're also reading in the Herald that there may be a stop to those motorbike ambulances. Tell us more about what the Premier said about corruption in general when it comes to COVID-19 services.
Good afternoon, Zinga. Indeed, you are coming to us in Bhisho. The Premier of the province, Mr. Oscar Mabuyane, came out hitting strongly on the authorities of OR Tambo district, which is just about 300 kilometers from where we are, telling us that there are authorities that were involved in fraudulent activities there. One will remember that our esteemed colleagues Lwandile Mbulali and Kuleko Nyembezi reported on this, that there were service providers which were internal from that district municipality who went around doing door-to-door campaigns, which in turn collected over 4 million rand in that activity. Now, Premier of the province, Oscar Mabuyane, said that they will sort the services of the SIU. They had already written to the president seeking those services. One thing which is really coming to the fore is that he has a certain posture towards corruption, and that posture is that it undermines the work that is being done internally by the provincial government. He says that the COGTA MEC is also aware of this, and they have also approached the Hawks, wherein they have started with the services of investigating that kind of corruption. But what is certain, Zinga, is that the provincial government is aware of the activities that are fraudulent happening in that area, and that they are acting on them.
Yanga, we know that there's a concern about the facilities in the Eastern Cape. Yesterday you spoke to us about the backlog in infrastructure, and how that's going to present a very large challenge when it comes to dealing with the pandemic. Do we know more about what's being done with regards to that?
So, Nzinga, the province already has, in its own submissions, close to 40,000 beds to deal with the people who might need to be hospitalized. Now, an additional 4,000 beds which were really brought into us by the VW group in Uitenhage, or Port Elizabeth rather, has already started functioning. Now, what the province is really seeking to do is to convert their facilities, government facilities, which include museums and stadiums, into facilities of quarantine, or rather field hospitals. So this is an additional amount of beds of 2,000. Now, one will remember that the SABC had been reporting that each and every district in the province of the Eastern Cape will have a field hospital with 500 beds. Now, the province has 6 districts. They have started working on that in OR Tambo, wherein they are going to introduce the 500 beds. The Provincial Health Department did indeed indicate to us that it's all systems in place. So the government of the province is aware of the current rapid spread of the COVID-19 virus, and they are sort of coming up with plans that will ensure that the spread of the virus is kept by these field hospitals. Recently, we welcomed over 70 SANDF medics. They will be spread into the metros of the province. We'll remember that the Premier of the province did say in his own submissions that these 2 metros account for the most numbers of infections in the province. In that score, they will be introducing 87 ward-based command teams, which will be going on this door-to-door testing and tracking those who are infected by this virus. So those are the plans that have been in place in Nzinga. The reintroduction of this approach means that it will no longer be from top to bottom, but it will be community-based, which means it will be bottom-up to ensure that each and everyone in the province has services to actual services to the health facilities.
Yanga, Funani, coming to us from Bhisho in the Eastern Cape there, following not only the corruption stories, which SABC will continue bringing more about, but also the Eastern Cape's response to the coronavirus pandemic. Let's go to the